Hello and welcome to the Last Month podcast.
The first try.
We definitely haven't spent the last 25 minutes recording what was going really well and then realised that some asshole forgot to press record on the audio.
Yay.
And now I'm really worried that this is going to reek of insincerity as we try to go over for a second time what was once very authentic conversation.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I feel crushed. I feel sad.
So, boys, what did you get up to in February? How was your Valentine's Day?
Well, Eddie, as we know in the fuck.
Oh my god.
What did you do, Elliot? Let's just do this quick fire.
I streamed with my lovely partner Nat, where we played some Jackbox with some other people who don't like Valentine's
The
Day.
Dateless Losers Club.
The Dateless Losers Club.
Yeah, a Real Big Fish reference.
Wow, I've never listened to Real Big Fish.
Don't try.
What? We are shocked for the first time of hearing this news. Tom, what did you do?
I didn't screw up Valentine's Day. I mean, you know this. Why are you asking? I got flowers and big chocky and wine and it was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice indoor watch a movie.
I'm nearly 30. Who gives a shit? And what did you do?
I saw the Sonic movie.
What?
I saw the Sonic movie with friends, and it was a lovely time. It was a great. I actually really enjoyed the film. As I said in the first take,
I don't think we can touch on anything we already talked about because it's like we're all just like, yeah, we know.
Do you have a story about a car crash about Sonic? I mean,
that was such a good story. That was such a good story about the car crash and how Sonic saved my life, and now they'll never get to hear it because I'm an idiot and an asshole.
Yeah.
For another time. Anyway.
Here's how, instead of us going back over everything we've already talked about, let's just jump into the format that I wanted to do for this podcast, which is let's talk about last month, let's talk about February. And first, why don't we, because we've already talked about the good things, so let's put some distance between us and the good things. Let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about the worst things that happened to us in February. Start on a high note, as this podcast has.
Wow.
So I'll go first. What was the worst thing that happened to me this February? Oh yeah, I'm stupid and ruined the podcast. No, I think for me the worst thing that happened, as I'm sure you boys recall, not that either of you were there, was a man tried to fight me in a pub.
This is news to me. When you said it just then.
Yes.
Go.
So yeah. So I was out at a pub with quite a lot of friends actually. It was like 7 of us out there. Yeah, I got 7 friends. Aren't you guys? That's
humble
that's
brag.
Good. Got a lot of friends. And this just very drunk man just joined the table, and he was like
alone?
he was alone. It was quite early. It was like only about 7, and he was absolutely blitzed. So it was safe to say he was not having a good day.
Right.
He was like suited as well, wasn't he? He was like
he was dressed like quite normally. Like he wasn't like, I don't know what you describe. Like he didn't look like an alcoholic. Not that one can. I don't want to be classist or anything like that, but it's just like he looked fairly quote unquote respectable.
Yeah. You wouldn't look and think immediately danger or.
But he was absolutely pissed. He was fucked. He was gazeboed. He was any word ending in ed. He was eddied. He was eddied. Yeah, it was like he sat down and it was like relatively harmless. Like first he was like talking to Chloe, he was like, "Ooh, Canadian," and that was like one of the few times that we understood what he was saying because it was that bad. And Chloe was like, "No," which is weird because I'm normally the one that gets asked, "I'm Canadian." He's like, "You're Canadian," and eventually Chloe just gave up, and now she's Canadian. Her passport's been thrown out and she's been kicked out of the country. Very sad, but she's hanging out with Meghan Markle.
So it's the Prime Minister then.
Yes. So and that went on for a bit, and like we just. Because there was only like a few of us that arrived at this point, and we just were like, whatever, that's just happening now. And then that went on for like 10 minutes, and then finally the rest of the group, like 5 others, showed up, and I politely tried to move them along. And it's like the same kind of way that I've done with like a lot of like meet and greets. If someone isn't reading like the signals or something, and it just like doesn't seem to notice that there's a big queue behind them, I'll find a way to move them along. Be like, so what are you going to go up to next? Or it's been really nice meeting to you, but I've got to say hi to my friends now.
You control the conversation and you steer it to the kind of direction you want it to go.
Which works on everyone except people who are extremely drunk, it seems. And it had to get to the point where I was just like, fella, it's been nice, but you're going to have to go now. That. That didn't go well. And he was just like, well, I won't use the words he used, but it's the bad ones. He got very upset about that, but it seemed pretty harmless. And he just like mumbled off, and it was fine. Everyone sat down, and we had a nice time for like 10 minutes. And then he came at me.
With a chair. It was a WWE.
No, not with a chair. It's not that interesting a story. No, he came at me from behind and like put his hands around my throat, and he just like got right up in my ear, and he was saying very choice words.
Wow.
Very angry. I can't even like do an impression of what he was saying on mic because it's just like full of some really horrible words. And what's funny is that like it took me like a good like 5 seconds to even realize what was happening. Because he was very drunk, so he wasn't that much of a physical threat. He was smaller than me. Well, most people are, but vertically so. And but what's funny is that like I just wasn't that phased. Like I knew he didn't have a knife on him. Weirdly, because he'd already turned his pockets inside out while he was sat with us. So I was just not that worried. But it was everyone else around the table who got really super bug-eyed and freaked out that like kind of pumped me with adrenaline. Like Chloe shut up and got round and put herself between me and him. Whereas my MO is more just to turn around slowly and be like, don't do that. And that's what I was like. I was just like, don't. I was just more... Well, I don't know. I just have no self-preservation skills, but I also wasn't going to like escalate the situation. And if I stood up, now he's got something to punch.
I mean, like it sounded like you could have probably just pushed him over.
Oh, 100%.
He'd have been out cold.
That's not like a fight you're going to be proud to win. So I was just like, hey, don't do that. And like everything like we talked about before, he was alone. It was quite early in the evening, and he was dressed relatively respectably. So I had already assumed this wasn't like someone who was troubled. This was someone who was probably having a really, really bad day. And
I'm surprised the bar staff didn't do anything.
they didn't do jack shit.
Yeah.
But everyone else, like who wasn't Chloe, went and tried to get the bar staff, and they were just like, there's 8 of you and 1 of him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Catford. It's a place that exists. And yeah, they didn't do anything. So he kind of eventually like he waddles off again, and then rolls back up about 10 minutes later crying. And that was what made it really sad, is because like he was just someone who was having a bad day, and he was like, I've had a really bad day, I'm really sorry. If I were to do a more accurate impression, it would have been a bit more mumbled, but he got through it, and it was just like, I was like, it's okay, just don't do that again, it's all right, just get yourself home. And it was just quite sad, but I'm pumped with adrenaline again, not because of what he'd done, but because of how scared and how shocked everyone else had been. Like if I'd seen it happen to one of my friends, I would have been up there like a shot. But because it was happening to me, I was like, I deserve this. This is fine. But that was probably like the worst thing that happened to me this month.
That's fair.
But it wasn't even that bad. It just makes for a kind of weird... I like texted my parents to tell them what had happened before I even tweeted about it, because or I think I just did an Instagram story like, that was strange, but I like messaged my parents first to be like, I am fine, please do not look into what I'm about to post, because like I wanted to talk about it. But yeah, that was
Have you been back to that place since?
I've been back to there. It's just the one place my friends like to go, because they are boring. So yeah, what about you, sir? What's the worst thing that happened to you this month?
Well,
You need to address that it was Eddie. It's an audio medium.
Well, his voice following
That's
on,
fair.
one would assume.
So from November, I started working on a new video on my channel. This one being about Sonic the Hedgehog, and I did like a whole I dug into the design philosophy and the origins of the character and the original game and stuff.
All the trivia and everything.
Yeah, and then I took a kind of a relaxed December, but I wanted to get it out in November. It then rolled into December, then it rolled into January, and it was just such a meaty video to get all these elements together. And I finally got the video finished and released at the very, very tail end of January. So throughout February, the video fucking tanked.
One quick note, Elliot. Stop disassociating. You are on camera.
I'm here. I'm listening.
You were sad Afflecking. Like, it was just like
that's
you could
fair.
just have zoomed in on your face.
The video flopped hard, and that was gut-wrenching because like I put a lot of time and effort into this one, and I consider this one to be like a safe bet in terms of views. And I know it's the thing that people say is like you shouldn't like base your happiness based on the views. You should just be happy to make the thing. But like when the reward of the view count and the comments and all that, when that doesn't match the level of effort that you put into the thing, that makes me sad. And it just really, really bummed me out. What I attribute this to is the thumbnail and the title, because the problem is I worked with, and this isn't like I'm weirdly blaming the artist for this or anything like that, but I commissioned an artist to draw me a thumbnail, and it was to draw like a sexy Sonic. And so that's exactly what they drew. But I think that became off-putting to anyone who was going to click the video. It's like, what is this weird, twisted, sexy Sonic video? I'm not going to watch this. And the title, I wanted to give it a vague title of "Is Sonic Beautiful?" because it's all about the beauty of the simplicity of the design.
Yeah.
But people took the combination of those things and just thought, I'm not going to click on this weeb furry shit. I'm gonna do anything else with my time. So I mean, according to my analytics, the video got like approximately 500,000 impressions, but only 40k views, and that is abysmally bad.
Well, I think that's. I mean, there's a lot of things in that. That's like the YouTuber's folly of the more effort you put into a video, the worse it will do. But also maybe that thumbnail would have worked better for a video like reading sexy Sonic fanfic, big cringe. So I had to completely. I had to apologize to the artist, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry," and like they're completely fine with it. They're like, "Yeah, sure, it's fine. Yeah, it's cool." But I completely redesigned the thumbnail, completely retitled the video. I bombarded the tags with lots of Sonic movie references just in an effort to try and to raise some view. And yeah, it did help a bit, but the video's done. You know, it's already kind of like been and gone now as far as people's concerned. Like your remakes one.
Yeah, I did a video about movie remakes and that also tanked. But that one I think was more of a case of I was trying to make a video on a already oversaturated subject. I was just too late.
The major currency of your channel is the recommended feed, isn't it? Like it's just the hand of God coming down and just plucking them out, which happens sort of at random with your videos, where suddenly it will just go, yes, we're going to put this video into the feeds of like hundreds of thousands of people, and sometimes like it's a month or more after the videos can come out. And it's so unpredictable. Like I don't envy that position at all.
It's usually like there'll be the initial wave and that'll be okay, and then it will be, and that, even like people sharing it on Twitter and Facebook stuff, while I'm grateful for, still doesn't amount to much. It's when YouTube's algorithm kicks in, that will like triple the view count sometimes, because that's now.
It's like, what's your Mr. Burns video at?
Like 1 point something million. It's like, it's like, that's great. But then when people watch that one, they then click through to the Roger Rabbit video, which they then click through to the Walt Disney one, to the Kids TV one, and these are all my most popular videos. And
it's like the economic philosophy of the rich getting richer, which is like how Aston movie grew as it did. One would then trickle into the next, and by the time, even now that I'm at 12 of them, it's like kids watch the first one and then they
go back and rewatch the
except that's changed now, because instead of watching all of them individually, they just watch the compilation. Like the Aston movie complete collections have millions and millions of views that the individuals now aren't getting, and it's like, I don't know if this is good or not anymore, because like Aston movie 12 stagnated in views, like, oh my god, it's your wife. Aston movie 12 stagnated in views like very quickly, and then but the compilation it's in has had about 6 million views that it then hasn't have, and it's like, I don't know if I like that.
It gets like 500k a month, that one, which is wild.
That's because you put the compilation like I think a couple of days after.
I usually do it. I sometimes do it immediately.
But I feel like you were a bit slow to this one, because I remember messaging you were like, okay, somebody else has already made a compilation. You need to make an official compilation.
The compilations always take a while to pick up, weirdly. Like they're kind of like your videos, in that like I will drop a compilation video for the first like month or so. It'll only get like 100,000 views, and then suddenly it will become the dominant video on the channel. So like it rarely affects that initial burst. Like As the Movie 12 like rocketed up to 10 million views like in its first couple weeks or something, and then just stopped dead. And in the past like 6 months has only gone up by about another 20% in views. Whereas usually it would just keep going and going and going, and those are views that are now going instead to the compilation. So if you took that compilation and added those views onto As Movie 12, that's what I'd expect it to look like.
I think there's also something to be said as well about just the philosophy of designing thumbnails and titles for YouTube now. It's now it seems to be so literal now, and that's definitely governed the thumbnail design for like the content videos. We can't give it so vague titles now. Like we have to be quite explicit of like, this is what the video is
like
about.
Even this video, how are we going to sell this video? We're just saying like, hey, it's the last month podcast. No one outside of people who know what that is going to care. Like it's like they have to care about last month. They have to care about the three of us. So it's like, do we instead just market it as like one thing we talk about in this video, like Tom got murdered at a pub, and then like a thumbnail of me going, it's like, is that how we market that video and hope we just kind of like pull people in?
Honestly, do you want to know what I've already kind of pegged in my head?
Oh gosh,
Tom ruins the podcast.
Oh. Yeah, that's fair.
That's seemingly an easy one, and that's an easy thumbnail to make as well.
Yeah, and even thumbnails now, like it's usually a person's face next to object.
You can't overcomplicate them now. You really can't. Any more than two faces or like a face and something else. Yeah, that's it.
That reminds me of how when we first met, and I was like, Elliot, your thumbnails are stupid.
Wacky.
They're not. They shouldn't be like kaleidoscopes. They call them kaleidoscopes, and your response was to put more faces in the thumbnails. How the past decade has changed.
I think a lot of it is due because like people watch videos through their phone, and so like the thumbnail is the largest thing that it's just so much pulling of the weight. It has to like convey so much information in just one image. So you have that window to get people, and then if not that, then people are watching it through like their TVs. And at the same time, they're going to see the thumbnail before the title. So it's just interesting how much the thumbnail has become so much more important than it used to be.
I'm scared.
Yeah, no, it's fair. You need to like get people of like what it is straight away. Otherwise, they just what? There's too much on the platform now. There's so much.
There's so much vying for their attention.
Well, that's why I was so skeptical about us doing this. It's like, do we have anything to offer that any other people like? Hey, let's just three white guys. Let's complain about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but people seem to, from the reception, people liked it, but it took them a while to get around to the actual video, which is fair. It's not something you can sit down with straight away.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I saw the podcast was like a stand-in for last week as the series, like where it's the more candid view of our lives, but instead of the daily vlogging like you used to do, it's just it's an opportunity where we can just sit down and chat in a more casual setting rather than the high energy of a content.
Yeah, I mean, people do seem to want it weekly, but that is difficult.
That's a maybe plan.
That's a maybe plan.
If if it goes off, if it goes well, then we'll transition into that. But I don't really feel comfortable doing that unless it's getting sort of like what I consider the minimum views for a successful video on this channel, which is 100,000. To
be fair, I think he's also running against it because, again, we're telling a lot of people to go to the channel on Tuesdays and only on Tuesdays. So releasing this, like we did on a Thursday, I don't think people are knowing that. It's the same with the Thanks Day, what just came out. People don't. Seemingly, it's working very much that people are coming for content on Tuesdays. Ever since we started doing that, people have started showing up.
Yeah, when they know to turn up one day a week. They were the same with last week's. They were like, it's Monday. we're gonna sit down with our dinner and friends, and we're gonna watch this together, and or a viewing party on Discord or something like that. It became an event.
Fools that they were to spend time on Monday waiting for a video that often came out late.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And that's what made Eddie sad.
That's what made me sad.
Wow.
Elliot.
What made me sad is my brain.
Oh no!
I guess, like we were discussing, because I didn't really have anything to make me bad sad this week.
Yes, you do. A lack of serotonin.
But a lack of serotonin, and this month was the time where I guess I should start at the start of this story. Wow. So in like the beginning of January, kind of, I started because I've been clean from not antidepressants, they're SSRIs technically, but it's easy just to say antidepressants. Was like in January, I've been clean since last December, and around this January, it started to get a bit tough again because
You were clean for a year.
Yeah, I was clean for a year, and then kind of a lot of like life things happened because I think everything started catching up with it because we got a dog, which is a lot of responsibility, and it required a huge routine change and a lot of like having to. I imagine it's when you get anything in your life, it's this weird change where you have to like you're responsible for something now, so you kind of have to.
It's a shock to the system.
There's an expectation you're having. I didn't have it with a house, but I also think that kind of tumbled into it, like moving to a new place.
Taxes.
Tax was the one what I actually when I went, oh, I'm depressed now. I'm depressed.
I think there's also something to do with the new year as well. Like it feels like such like a change, like it's a start or something. You know, I think that
well, there is the come down from Christmas. Like that kills a lot of people.
Yeah,
or tips them over the edge, to be more precise.
It was just tough, and then I kind of decided to take like a month in the entirety of January essentially to be like, let's see if this is, because with a lot of mental health sometimes it is just a change of an event in your life that kind of can dissipate after a bit, but with this I just started noticing same sort of patterns kind of emerging that I did last time, so I decided to take the steps to get on the meds that I was before. I'm not going to shout out the type of meds.
Don't, because obviously, well, I mean, obviously, like different meds work for different people as well. I get that question a lot, like, oh, what meds are you on? They'll help me. And it's like, no, like I had to try like multiple meds before I found ones because they're different effect for every brain.
Yeah,
I will say there is kind of a difference between SSRIs and antidepressants. There's like for a certain type of mental health. I have manic depression / bipolar, and these are more helpful towards that kind of diagnosis. SSRIs, because they're mood stabilizers technically, not antidepressants are a little different to the SSRIs.
Well, you have epic highs and epic lows,
Yeah.
and your meds I think are trying to keep you more focused in the middle. Whereas I go from epic lows to neutral with no epic highs, so mine are just like they're to boost up the overall serotonin. Or something.
Yeah, and I think it's because my epic highs kind of come in forms of anxiety, so it's like they're all kind of meshed together. So when I notice myself having a lot more anxious episodes, that is kind of my mental health playing up. But I decided to make the move, and now I'm like essentially transitioning to go back on the meds because the first 2 weeks with all meds is very, very tough.
Yeah,
and they show in different ways every time. Like this time, like last time, it was very because one of the main side effects is that it will make you more depressed, which is a funny little thing.
Yeah, big time.
So for the first 2 weeks, it's been all right. I've been if you keep a healthy lifestyle, and like because I've been walking the dog every morning and evening, I get like an hour's worth of walk every day, usually, and eating healthily and all that stuff. It's kind of worked out fine. But that's kind of the worst thing that's happened to me is that. But it's also not a really bad thing because technically I don't want to. Being on meds is not necessarily a bad thing. It helps a lot of people.
Well, no, I mean, but it is an inconvenience. It's a frustration because it's just something that you kind of live with.
But it saves lives. Like my mum's been on the same meds for 5 years. Maybe more than actually now thinking about it. And it's just that she's very adamant that she doesn't. A lot of people have different relationships with them. Like a lot of people are on them for a long time and see them as like a lifetime sort of thing. But for me, I was like, I felt like I wanted to try without them for a bit, and I actually felt kind of fine. Mm-hmm. Like to me, it's to get me to a point where I'm stable enough to just come off of them.
Yeah.
But if I need them again, I can come back on it. I know it's always there.
Whereas I have such a violent reaction, like sometimes literally, to coming off my medication that I don't see a much of a desire to come off them.
Yeah.
My medication, yes, it does. I'm sure it does affect my depression and health, but for me it works much better as a mood stabilizer, and I don't like who I am when I'm off them, and that's not something that's not a new thing. It's something that I've had anger issues ever since I was like 11, 12, and these meds are the first thing that's actually helped me not be furious all the time.
Yeah, I mean mine do kind of do the same. Like I notice myself having a lot of not anger, because I don't really get angry, but I get a bit bitchy more than anything.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's very noticeable. Like
I call you. I just say you're going through a contrarian phase.
Well, I am a bit of a contrarian anyway, but like it is, I get a bit hostile and I get frustrated really easily, And to be fair, it's like people who have anxiety get that a lot anyway, because it becomes like every single
Charlie's
thing
the same.
becomes a personal, even if it's not personal, it becomes personal because you get it into your head. But these kind of help with that as well, like just because they're just mood stabilizers. They're meant to kind of keep you on a neutral playing field. And I guess the main thing is that I don't want. There's a lot of stigma around people saying it is a bad thing to be on meds. That is a very prominent thing. So I don't want to necessarily say it's a bad thing, but my mental health in general has been bad. So
I guess it's a bad situation. The meds aren't the bad thing.
Yeah.
They're what you need, but it's an obstacle.
that's my obstacle for this month.
I can't. I'm smiling not because of that, because I've remembered the stigma joke.
I mean, it's got stick my dick in something.
Yeah.
Nice.
What do you think about the stigma? Stigma dick in your ass.
Nice, dude.
It's like you're talking about your mental health issues, and I'm like,
Like,
if you watch the camera, you'll see when you say stigma, I'm just like,
Fuck's sake.
I'm
Nice.
so sorry. So, Eddie, what's the best thing that happened to you this month, or the most good thing? What good thing? Last month, good section.
Best thing.
Yes. So part of what I spent this month doing was working on a show reel. I worked with Kai, who edited the live stream gaming edits.
He's a good editor.
Yeah, he's great because I knew like he would be able to bring like this kind of like really cool energy. You know, the way like he would like superimpose Liam's face on a leg or something in the game.
Yeah.
I wanted that kind of like energy brought to a show reel, because the thing is, it's a script writing show reel, and it's like, how do you highlight the script writing elements in a show reel? That might be best placed for like an acting show reel, voice acting, or animation show reel, but I'm trying to show the writing side. So I worked with him to have like, while I had clips playing of the stuff that I'd written, parts of the script would be appearing in the video. Like in speech bubbles, or it's being typed out whilst the action's happening.
I love how you were like, I can remember when you came in and you were like, oh yeah, we came up with this really good idea to like have the script come out as the clip is playing, and it's like it's gonna be. And I was just like, oh, you mean like they do in the Oscars? Like what? And I'm like, yeah, that's how they do the best screenwriting Oscars every time. And you're like, oh.
But it's also like the script to screen series where it's like, they play the scene and it has the script scrolling up from the bottom. But I wanted mine to be more exciting.
Yeah.
And so I worked with Kai with that like for like a week and a bit, and I'm really happy with the result. It
is pumping.
Yeah. I've put it out onto Twitter and Facebook, but I know that won't amount to anything. That's just kind of like throwing it out there for the sake of it. What I now need to do is to start going through my contacts and just saying, hey, I'm looking for work. Here's a show reel.
Yeah.
Because it's so much to be like, here's sample scripts. Here's a email with like 5 PDF attachments.
Yeah.
Or here's a 1.5-minute video that gets the whole gist across, and like that's what I'm kind of thinking might sway in my favor.
So what we need to do is everyone watching this needs to go to that tweet and reply with, wow, someone should hire this man.
Yeah.
So that anyone that looks at that tweet is like, my God.
Wow.
This guy knows his stuff.
That's how that works. That's what people do when they search. When people are looking for writers, they go onto Twitter and they search "hire this writer" in speech marks. Like, oh, there we found one.
And then at your favourite brand at the end as well.
Hire this man at Fleshlight.
I'd write for Fleshlight.
At Pornhub.
I'd write for them. Yeah, I'd write for Pornhub.
Yeah, I'll slot it up.
He gets his wheelie out, and he's
Sorry,
wheelie out.
Wheelie.
He pops his sick wheelie, and then he pops his sick wheelie.
You're fired.
My
Shit.
God. I hated everything that just happened there. Elliot, what was the best thing that happened to you this month, though?
Oh, I did a charity stream.
Whoa.
Did we talk? We talked about Valentine's Day. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Stop reminding people of
that's
my
fair.
failures,
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, so this weekend, last weekend by the time this comes out, we did a charity stream on the lovely stuff with me and Nat doing Beat Saber. We did it for special effects. I'm trying to remember all the stuff I said last time.
You don't have to remember what you said last time. Just remember the thing that happened.
I just said it so well last time. Now I've got an expectation to live
How
up
much
to.
did you raise?
Raised over £200, which is great.
£200?
Yeah, for special effect, because every year there's a game blast, and where this special effect essentially organises this huge thing where everybody donates on one day and just does a big drive for this amazing charity. The 12-hour live stream last year, what us boys at Toe Punch did,
That's us.
was for special effect. It wasn't a part of Game Blast, but it was just after Game Blast. So they're a really amazing charity, and Nat also did a run stream as well for it via Big Potato. And
We weren't originally going to do special effect for that 12-hour stream.
No,
we were going to do a couple. We were looking at a couple charities. One of them was, I think, a charity that we thought provided housing to homeless children. And then, like an hour before we went live, I found out that they just provided advice for homeless children. And I was like, "Oh no, I don't believe in this charity anymore."
So like on the morning,
and so we were panicking, and then you were like, "What about special effects? They just
Yeah.
had this game blast." I'm like, "They don't need more money," and it got right to the end, and I was like, "Fuck it, we're doing it for special effect."
Yeah. But yeah, we did Beat Saber for like it was like 6 hours or 5 or 6 hours straight of just pure exercise, squatting and wobbling our arms about like wavy inflatable tube men, wavy inflatable tube people. And it was exhausting, and it hurt a lot, and it was it's like doing what's it, cycling? What's it called?
Cycling.
No, there's like a class where you cycle.
Spin class.
Spinning. It was like doing that, but
just exercise. You're
we
just describing
were doing
exercise.
exercise. I've never done it before. It was my first try, and it hurt.
Oh, well,
It was a
well
lot.
done. Well done for the...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Problem is though, is that you did this stream while Eddie and I were like at VidCon. Like we could have tweeted it out. We could have been like, "Hey, go to Elliot's stream," but you did it specifically while we were busy. We couldn't even like
See the stream while
Like,
it was happening.
That's when Game Blast was.
great, but
I
like,
couldn't. I can't change the date.
You could have been like, "Guys, I'm going to stream. Could you tweet it out, maybe?"
Yeah, right. To be fair, Nat did suggest that, and I was like, I don't want to ask them. They're probably working.
Yeah, we were.
we
Which is
would've
why we
still
couldn't
done it.
find out about the stream.
Why? You
we
guys
found out
were
after the fact. Like there was no. We weren't. I mean, you must have known. Was it like a last minute decision to join the effort, or was it like planned?
It was pseudo planned. We were going to do it on a Sunday, but then we ended up doing it on a Saturday. But the Game Blast was always going to be that weekend.
So you're always going to do something, but it was just
Yeah.
what day it fell on. See, that's what we meant. Like, if you just
No,
told
it's
us it's
fair.
happening, we would have like
I
at
just
least tweeted it out. But
I just kind of forgot about doing any promo until literally like the Friday we tweeted out saying we're going to do it.
You're not even
at
doing
night.
promo now. You're talking about your gaming stream, and you haven't even plugged the name of it.
Lovely
once.
stuff. It's the twitch.tv/the lovely stuff.
Wow, the
Wow.
lovely stuff.
The
in a normal
lovely
accent?
stuff.
The lovely stuff.
The lovely stuff.
Great. I sure would like to watch that if I'm a fan of Elliot.
Wow, thank you so much.
Today's video is sponsored by... Well, that's fun.
What did you do? What was good and the best thing that happened to you this month of February?
Thank you, Elliot, for your words that are good today. Well, as you know from having been in this office and it being in the shot the whole time, I got that gold vinyl back there.
This one.
My muffin song went gold, and as if you don't know, the way that works is an album going gold traditionally meant that it sold 500,000 singles. Except in this new era of streaming and YouTube views and digital downloads, it doesn't. The RIAA, the body that decides what constitutes as 500,000 sales, has had to come up with a system and an algorithm to be like, okay, well, how many YouTube views counts as the same as a purchase of a single, or how many Spotify streams counts as that. So I don't know how it adds up, but between all the actual album sales, the Spotify streams, the YouTube views, and any other things, it now has done the equivalent of 500,000 sales, and that is all. I'm pretty much sure thanks to TikTok. I mean, the video did fine before TikTok picked it up. It was like 30 million or something,
Nice.
which is amazing. But then suddenly
That's like
TikTok
wild,
happened.
right? What is it now?
160 or 170 million.
Wow.
It is by far the most viewed video I will ever make. I do not plan on topping that. I'm very fine with that being.
Muffin song 2.
No, the muffin is gone. I mean, we talked about this before. Like, it's just. we have exhausted every single piece of audio from that 2014 recording session with Sam.
Yeah, it was every Muffin line of dialogue came from that one recording session, and we have to pay a license every time we use it in a video, and we've now used up every line in the recording session.
as of the Muffin Time announcement video, in which we featured such memorable lines as "I like the ASDF movie," which is Sam just speaking to me on the phone,
Sam talking,
and him going which is him being confused at a line. Like everything we had.
the little wait, what? Yeah, that's just genuinely him, and that's why it's well performed, because he was being himself at that point.
Yeah, what we did is, for that video, I was just like, what's every piece of scrapped dialogue we never used, and put that in that, and then it was like, okay, that's done now. So yeah, maybe we'll include the Muffin for him dying. Well, like he's just already dead.
Finish his arc.
But like ultimately he is gone. But yeah, no, so that went gold, and I have TikTok to thank for that, and the era of TikTok when everyone was like, cringe culture. I hate cringe culture. But if it, the Muffin song probably wouldn't have picked up this year, now that TikTok is sort of regarded as a actually funny place.
Yeah.
We were relying very much on that original, whoa, look at these losers, momentum of people bullying children, having fun with the song. One of those being Anna, who became known as the Muffin Girl. The actual original Muffin song TikTok that Anna did is gone. Like, it got so heavily flagged by trolls that it got deleted.
Oh, yikes. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
Weird. Surely, like,
it's called bullying.
Yeah, but like, surely a video that was that popular could be brought back by TikTok, like.
Maybe
some intervention by if it was like one of the biggest videos on TikTok, surely they could intervene.
It was definitely her biggest video. Yeah, it's very mean. Like I went on her TikTok a year or so ago, and I watched her, and she's got some really cool creative stuff. She's a very artistic person. I met her at the last VidCon, and I said like, hey, I'd love to have you in a video, and she was like, yeah, cool. And then I went and just didn't make a new video since then. Really, we haven't like done a TomSka video that she'd fit in.
Yeah.
We've only shot 3 sketches since VidCon 2019, which was Wizzo, Bible Time, and
Meanwhile 4D.
Meanwhile 4D, I needed a very reliable Chris Kendall in it, and the other 2 I'd already got like a cast locked for it. So I know what sketch I want her in, but we have to film it. And so like in that next batch of filming, I know the sketches I want to do are ones with Kadikarus and her.
Yeah, we've just been like stuck with like this animated pilot that we've been like slowly but surely working our way through, but it's just become like a
that nobody knows the name of.
Yeah, no one definitely figured out the name of the series we've been working on from watching the Thanksgiving video.
Yeah,
I definitely didn't even realize that the name was in the images.
On every single image.
Definitely, yeah.
That was like a Sonic movie level of clever marketing where I made a mistake and actually I was promoting it.
But either way, we've been like, it's been slow progress, but we are, the pilot in question has been planned out, but it's just like meticulously going through every beat by beat, trying to get, because this is our pitch. I mean, to nowhere in particular, but if we want to impress and we want to do right, so it's just been overanalyzed and like scrutinized so heavily.
I almost wish the opportunity had never come up to do this pilot, because we were approached last year. They were like, hey, we got this platform and we want content for it, so can you write like a quick 3-minute pilot? So we wrote that, and then I think we got, I don't know if things changed or we got dropped or something happened.
We already had the pilot scripted. Yeah. That was the thing. We kind of came to them with it.
Something happened, and then they didn't want that 3-minute version. They wanted like a full 11-minute version. And us now trying to make that full 11-minute version has soaked up so much time. Like we could have, if I had to say, like, if we had to focus on a project I'd be passionate about, then like Super Average would be more one of those things. Like, but you know me, I'm an asshole. So. But it's more, I just want to get this pilot done so we can get back to writing the rest of the Crash Team episodes and new sketches. Oh my god, we haven't written a new sketch in so long.
Yeah.
Like, the only new sketch the last time we wrote like a new sketch was, I think, Magic Spoon.
Yeah, from beginning to end, and then I mean, I think we have talked ideas about other sketches, the ones we want to make, but those haven't been made yet.
Yeah.
So those are ready. They just they're more elaborate sketches.
Which out of the sketches that came out last year, Beard was written in 2014. Wizzo and Bible Time were both. Well, Bible Time was written in 2016. Wizzo was heavily planned out in 2016, and all I did was type out into a script.
Bible Time was the original version of the Time Trouble script, the one for the Last Kingdom that got scrapped.
Yeah, and Meanwhile 4, I don't really consider that like a script that we wrote. It was, it was just a series of jokes. It was a list of jokes.
Yeah.
Like it's not, and it's a format that we already knew existed. So that's not, and like an Astor movie, but these are not things I consider like really like sketches. The reason I don't want to make a sketch, one of the reasons that put me off making sketches though, is that it's kind of all down. I feel like it's only downhill from here. Like, obviously the peak of TomSka has come, and the era. Well, I mean, that, nearly a decade ago, the era where I could upload any old shit, and it would just blast to 1 million views in 2 days, and then coast up to maybe like 5 million or so. And now it's I have to work really hard, be really carefully and meticulous, and maybe the video will hit 1 million views in a month or two. And so it's like I'm just worried that every sketch I make could be the one that suddenly puts my subs in the negative. At that point when you start hitting that minus instead of that plus every month.
Didn't Wizzo do really good though?
Wizzo didn't.
Did it
Like
not?
It was received very well.
It was received so well. It was like, this is the best sketch I've seen in years.
Wizzo was great, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it. And
You're welcome.
for your wonderful performance that killed your throat. But at the end of the day, it still did just fine. Like the response that sketch got, if was the kind of response that would lead to like a 10 million view sketch 7-8 years ago.
Right.
But nowadays, even though it was incredibly well received, it still just got up to like 1 million views and has trickled since. And that's like that says like, hey, you have to be really paranoid now. You have to be really cautious about what you release. Like if Dan Howell isn't in this sketch, don't even bother.
I wonder though, like, I'm so like struggling as to why that's the case. Like, it's just the landscape of YouTube different now that people don't want a 2-minute, 3-minute video. It's like it's either got to be a sub-minute filmed on somebody's iPhone, or it has to be like a 6 to 10 minute epic that I'm gonna sit down and dedicate
or
my
it could
time
be
to.
It's also titles and thumbnails, like we were talking before. Like, say just a thing what says like Wizard the Wizard does not fly anymore.
Yeah.
You're like, how a wizard does this thing?
Crazy wizard sketch.
But that's the thing. It's like if this was a Gus Johnson video, it would have been shot on a like a handy cam, and it would have been called like. When I can't even imagine. I can't even do a joke. But yeah, like something that was a descriptor of what's happening in the video, and it would have got 3 million views and been really popular on Reddit. And like,
you
but
could
like
take
that's
elements
not.
of that though. You could take the title like elements of that and kind of.
I did. Remember, I did that for the Crybaby sketch, where I was like, when the baby won't stop crying, and no one gave a shit. So I eventually just turned it back to what it was originally called, which is Crybaby.
17 Ways to Dump Your Girlfriend, I think, did all right. With
that was playing on the listicle format, which even that I think has kind of had its day now.
Yeah, that whole BuzzFeed thing has like passed.
Remember when I suggested you put a listicle title as one of your sketches, and it just did not help.
Yeah, I think there is something in like maybe potentially working from a title backwards. Come up with
don't.
Like, but if it's still a good idea,
I know, but I am. Maybe it's just pride, but like, and I'm proud of like the high production values and the sort of not creative titles, but the more filmic titles and the thumbnails we do. Like that's something I'm proud of. And I don't want to make things I'm not proud of. I'd rather die proud than, go through and rename Astor movie silly stick figures and I don't know.
Astor movie's safe. I think that
maybe we're just not as funny as anymore.
I don't think it's that anymore. I genuinely think that the platform is now is that people are now care more about the thumbnail and the title and how long it is. Like a really interesting thing is that when Doddy did that poll about, hey, what do you guys like care about in videos now? And it was like
a 1 minute video,
1 minute video, like then like 3-minute video or a 10-minute video, and it was like 95% 10-minute video.
Yeah.
Like,
whereas I don't watch those.
Yeah.
Which is why I watch less YouTube now, because the content's got longer, and my attention span hasn't changed personally. So I'm just like, I struggle to make the content I wouldn't myself want to watch.
Okay, boomer.
Eddie, what's the most mediocre thing that happened to you this month? What's very middle of the road?
Well, okay. Well,
not this month. Last month. That's the name of the podcast.
Damn it!
Yes. So I don't know whether this would be regarded as middle of the road per se, but like at the end of the January last month podcast, we talked about fears, and I spoke about I spoke about my fear of death.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I have been in a constant state of panic.
Cool.
I've
Cool
been
and good.
I've been like in a bubbling state of a mild panic attack ever since that day, and like there's a point I can actually give you the time code at the exact moment I panic in the actual podcast.
Unlock something within you? What happened?
But it's obviously like a thing that, and I don't blame this on the person who asked the question. No, it's not. It's nothing to do with them. Like they had no idea. But my point is this is obviously a thing I've had throughout my whole life. I've always had this fear, but I've just like repressed it, chose not to think about it, and then the moment it was brought up in that podcast, I thought about it because I had to explain my rationale behind the fear, and in doing so, I've been in a panic since.
Damn. You like open the door to a monster. This is my monster.
Oh, I can't shut it now.
See, Eddie, a month-long existential crisis seems worse than your video not doing very well.
Well, well, to me, it's like, I mean, that bummed me the fuck out. But the existential crisis, I'm trying to not let overwhelm me. But it has been like just preying on my mind so much, and like I've tried to weaponize it in that. So instead of letting it be a fear that paralyzes me, I'm instead trying to turn it into a fear that motivates me.
Right.
So like I'm trying this kind of like new mindset, philosophy, I don't know what to call it. I heard probably incorrectly God of your own universe, which is the theory of I am the center of my own universe, and that sounds egotistical, but work with me here. As far as like I'm concerned, when I die, everyone dies. Like everyone's gone, right?
Damn.
As far as I'm concerned, from my perspective,
Everything you're saying makes it sound like you're going to become like some sort of terrorist.
take you all
You're
down with me.
weaponizing your fear of death. When you die, everyone dies with you. I'm not liking this. Where's this going?
I just mean from my perspective, right? And in some ways that might lead people to like wanting to leave behind some kind of legacy or something like that. But I don't think it needs to be as extreme as that. I just think it's just a case of trying to be just more proactive with my life so that I'm not so like bogged down in regrets. So like, okay, so it's a minor example, but like, my phone died while I was at the cinema. Like I was waiting for Alison to turn up. I had to book her an Uber, but the moment I did, I pressed book Uber, then my phone died. It went from 30% to dead, and I was like, oh shit! Like, it became such as like a stress. It's all sorted out in the end, but so in the end, I thought, oh, I need to get a new phone now. Me back in January backwards would have like put off getting a new phone for a while. Be like, oh, okay, I need to get a new phone. I'll do it when I get round to it. Mm-hmm. But God of Universe kicked in, and I thought, no, I'm going to sort this out now. So within the week, I got a brand new phone, and I've been happier since getting the new phone. Another example being at VidCon, whilst we were setting up on the Friday, and I headed off home, I saw Amy write me out. Like just in the hall, she was like crossing through to head to like a meeting. Old me would have been like, oh no, she's going somewhere. I won't disturb her. But then God of the Universe kicked in and said, no, take this opportunity to say hi to the person you've been trying to say hi to for a while. So I was like, hey Amy, and then we got chatting, and that led to like her joining us on Saturday night to play a bunch of games, and that was such a great laugh.
She brought rum. It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, the hangover wasn't.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it doesn't need to be something that has a reward at the end of it, but it's just like taking those opportunities, seizing those moments, and trust in small incremental ways, enriching your own life.
Carpe diem, baby.
YOLO.
Yeah, will work. FOMO.
Yeah,
I mean that's cool.
Yeah,
I guess.
fair. But is that genuinely helping?
I think it helps a bit. But
Okay.
I am also gonna get therapy.
That's fair.
We haven't even talked about my most average thing of the month.
Go on then.
I helped my girlfriend copy edit her Raylo fanfic.
What does that mean?
Charlie,
What are each of those words?
You said a lot of things that didn't work for me.
Charlie is already 10,000 words. No, I think 12,000 words into her.
That's like a dissertation.
Her Raylo fix it fan fiction,
Fix it.
which is she was left so sad after the end of Rise of Skywalker. Not like sad because of like in a satisfied way, but just hated the movie
Go
so
on.
much that she's been writing a fan fiction that continues on from the events of the film and tries to save her ship.
An epilogue.
And, you know, I've just been, like, humouring her.
Did
like,
he bang?
They will. We get there.
Wow. Okay.
We are 12,000 words in and they have not even thought about that yet.
All right.
So it's like... she's
They've not even thought about it?
Oh, trust me, there's plenty of thinking about it. But
Mate,
like,
he was half sharp at the end there.
so anyway.
Spoiler alert, I've not seen it, and I'm going to be looking the whole time now.
Where's the chub?
So yeah, like she's been writing this and she was like, oh, can you just give this a quick read? And I was like, hey, this doesn't suck, but it could be better. Because I'm a straight white man and my opinion is important.
Especially when it comes to Star Wars.
Big time. She just doesn't get it, you know?
So you cut all the women out of there.
yeah. I was fixing her fic. So I just went through and started copy editing, and it was really satisfying. I mean, I haven't lost myself in writing like that maybe ever. Like, you know, I just worked on the first chapter, which is out now, and it was like 3,500 words, and I spent 7 hours uninterrupted just going through and copy editing it and like changing up wording and just like making it a little bit more refined. Like the work was good, but one, I work really slowly. Like I'm very meticulous and like I do obsess over every word, as you know. But it was just mostly just very satisfying. And I've done the first chapter and I did.
It's out. I didn't realize it'd been released.
It's out. I'm not gonna.
How do you release a chapter of something?
You put it on Archive of Our Own, the fanfic website.
Oh, I didn't know that existed.
There's a few of them, but yeah, that's one of them. And I'm not gonna like link to it because I don't want to give her.
They'll find
attention. They're welcome to find it. She's been tweeting about it, so if you know who she is and you know how to find it, go ahead. But I mean, if you like Raylo, I guess, you know, Ray and Ben or Kylo, I don't know, then go ahead. But yeah, I'm probably going to keep helping her do that because it's been quite creatively rewarding. I love feeling useful. Like that's the thing I've been learning about myself the past couple of years, is that the thing I do genuinely find rewarding, that's bringing me contentment, is being useful to people, to other creative people. I get so much more joy from helping them achieve their potential. I mean, I always have. That was like that was the thing. That was like my relationship with Ed before he died. That's what made my life good. Was this like creative heart, genius, whatever you want to call it, and I was the brains guy, like steering and guiding and refining. And then when he was gone, I was just like, well, I just exist now. And so like these few little moments in my life I've had to like work with other creatives, you know, like when we worked on Hetty's short film, The Lamb, and we got it there, like that filled my heart up so full. And you know, I have a couple other friends that are creatives, and I've like helped them either by just like, you know, giving them tech or like giving them advice and stuff. And like every time that's happened, I felt so happy. And so like maybe that's the closest I have to a plan. Like I often think I'd love to teach kids at sixth form level, you know, 16 to 18, because everyone younger is fucking awful and everyone older is fucking awful. But like that 16 to 18 range fit. No, it's that's when I found myself. Like that's when I finally found what I wanted to do and what made me happy. And I'd love to be a part of that life for other people. I'm worried that if I actually tried to get a job like that, one, it wouldn't pay enough, and I'd just wind up fucked, or two, I would just get fired, either just from being me, or it just takes one parent to go, hey, that's the dog fuck guy. Not that I have fucked a dog, but I've made enough jokes about it, you know, even just then when I was like, you know, that joke where I'm like, you know, 15, 16, oh, they're fit. You know, you take that clip out of context, you run a Daily Mail article on, the teacher said this, I'm done.
No, I can't imagine any kind of conservative party anywhere, especially Scotland or anything like that, ever taking stuff that you said out of context to use for... No.
They used a lot of it in context, but it still didn't work. But like, yeah, I that's what makes me happy. Like, I don't. It doesn't necessarily make me money, but it makes me happy. I mean, even over this weekend, we were running Rebecca's Let Me Explain Studios table. That I got a lot of satisfaction out of, like just doing a good job of that. You know, it was a frustrating about the missed opportunities, and it's like, if I can be good at that, I can help people, I can be useful. We won't do audience questions this week. I would like to, but like, I think we had a really good momentum when we started recording the podcast, and then I fucked it. So we
should have had questions, but now
yeah.
Now we're
so I'm just gonna ask you guys a question. March.
Yeah.
What's the plan? What do you want to get done in March? You,
Oh,
Mr.
God.
Mr. Seize the Day, Mr. God of your own ball sack. What do you want to get done in March?
Well, I mean, I ideally get therapy underway. I guess by me announcing it in the podcast means like people have to check in now, which is good.
It also means you're gonna get some armchair therapy.
That's
People
true.
I think the problem you have, Eddie, is this.
I invite any and all opinions.
Yikes.
It's great for analytics.
Big cringe, bro.
I think I would like to start getting so I did the show reel, so I'd like to now start rolling out with like those contacts, trying to find some work out there. Hopefully by March I've got some leads that amount to something. I don't know what, but just whatever's going. Ideally, whatever stops me having to go back to an office job.
Very fair. He says in this office where his job is.
What about you, Tom?
For me, the most important thing is going to be to finish this pilot script.
Unnamed
pilot script, definitely not revealed by accident. And have a couple sketches underway, like at least.
That'd be nice, yeah.
At least a filming date set. Like maybe we can't set up these big shoots because like the sketches I want to do are going to be ones that challenge us. Like I don't want to just shoot something in my living room again. I mean, those sketches are great, but like I would like to at least have some challenging sketches in the pipeline. These big set pieces that are like very cool and dark, and I want to get some creative satisfaction out of next month, and not just be so focused on like the next content that I forget to do the thing that's supposed to be important. That said, like as soon as this script is done, I'll probably become distracted with the fact that we got to get Aston Movie 13 ready for when Muffin Time finally releases. When's Muffin Time coming out? We don't know. They're not allowed in the factory because of coronavirus.
China.
And that's obviously the worst thing about the coronavirus. So we're just all like, ooh, we don't know what's happening.
Knows?
Elliot, you got any plans for March?
Oh god, not that many really. I stream every week, and then I've got a plan for an actual video, like an actual Elliot explicit video, maybe, if I can get it done. It's just the actual production side of it that's going to be a ball ache.
You can talk about your feelings?
No, it's about cancer, and that's all I'll really say about it. So that's fun. It's one I've been writing for a while.
Do you have cancer?
No.
Okay.
But I have had multiple cancer scares.
Okay.
That's what it's kind of
fine.
about.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Jeez, I mean, it would
Can
be
you imagine?
So... Yes, Elliot, I
It
can.
would be
It would
me.
be so you to
Yeah.
just be like, oh, by the way, I have cancer in a video.
I have actually, like, that is genuinely what I
I
have
hate
that
you
for.
so much.
But I also do, like, the whole, how I announced that my grandma died.
What,
Knock, knock. Who's there? My grandma's dead. To an entire crew of people.
This is
while
how
on
he
a
came
film
into
shoot.
work one day.
Oh, yeah, that too. I've done it multiple times.
Oh, no,
now.
that's how you announced your granddad was dead.
Yeah.
Fuck,
It's because,
man.
yeah, that was Oreo shoot.
And that was February. That was last month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
The second podcast is now done.
we're still playing around with this. This is by no means us locking into this format.
No.
We're just thinking we're trying like, hey, a multi-camera setup.
We've got microphones
giving
now.
This structure, like there's still more things we want to do technically and structurally. Like we would like to be able to take audience questions in this,
Yeah.
but we prattle on a bit much. So like learning to talk less would probably be a big thing.
That's fair.
Unless we're so
It's
interesting.
a podcast. You're meant to talk.
Mind your titties. But please let us know in the comments what you think we can do to be better. I don't know why I said it like that. So,
well, that was the podcast.
The question we have for you is...
what do you like on your ice cream?
No, it's what are you going to get up to in March? But also, what do you like on your ice cream?
Yes. Like sprinkles or syrup?
All
Or
distractions.
bananas?
Pointless.
I like a bit of strawberry sauce and a flake.
I despise you all. It's just a nice plain mint choc chip.
Oh, mint choc chip.
Job done. Don't need
I like
nothing else.
Viennettas. They're my new thing. Mint choc chip Viennettas.
No, they're super
On an
underwhelming.
ice cream.
The chocolate's too thin now. It's like you barely even notice the chocolate in the middle.
But
I think
I like
Brexit
it.
done did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got political right there at the end. Thank you.
Go away.
Bye.
See you last month.